evening, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day. Welcome to this special edition of Coast to Coast College Football Pregame Show. I'm your host, Uncle Shally. You, you can call me Scholastic Shally or all my nicknames from last week. There's probably be more soon. But on this special edition, I have my normal two co-hosts as always. My Buckeye brother from another mother, Mr. Cottrell Simpson out in Ohio. How is Thanksgiving going out there, sir?
Going pretty good, you know. I'm still waiting to get to the real entree, of the weekend. But I'll take the fellowship and the food for right now.
I hear you on that. We are waiting for the same main course. Our main feast is coming a little later in the weekend than others, but Mr. West Coast, I know it's a little earlier out there. You probably have not begun your feast. Me and Cottrell, we look a little sluggish because we already ate. But Mr. I Black Alex Elmore on the West Coast, how is it going?
Hello.
How is Thanksgiving going out west?
It's going, man. Food's getting ready. Appetizers are out. I'm already like 3 plates deep. I can't lie. I've already got my stretch pants on. Okay, I'm ready to gain a few pounds. By Saturday, I might be looking a little bit bigger. But no, I'm excited for Thanksgiving, man. My main course comes tomorrow night, and I cannot wait to go over that game with you guys today. So let's jump into it because I know everyone at home watching wants to get home and hang out with their families. So I'm glad that they're spending this time with us right now and kind of getting a preview for the weekend to come. But let's get into it.
Yeah, so let's jump in real quick. We are here simply for this reason. We like to bring you all the games, like we always promise you that we will. There are 2 bigger games. One's going to happen later this evening, and we have a huge one tomorrow night that we wouldn't be able to preview on Saturday morning show as normal. So we are a full service pregame show. We hopped on here. We carved out a little niche of time so we could hop on here and talk to you guys real quick before your dinner, before you sit down and watch some more football. But there's nothing more American than, some football and some turkey. So we're going to preview 2 games for you guys. We're going to be real quick. We're going to go through them, get everybody's, predictions, thoughts on the games. We're going to hop out of here. And then we will be back Saturday morning at our normal time at 10 o'clock for the big one, the game. And there's a couple other good games on Saturday. So let's hop right into it. I believe we're going to start with the Egg Bowl, correct?
Absolutely.
Ole Miss coming off, I don't know quite what they have left to play for. I mean, maybe an outside shot at a New Year's Six Day Bowl game. I'm not sure how that's going to break down with the SEC. Versus Mississippi State, who is 1-0 under their interim coach. Egg Bowl is, honestly, it's actually a cool game. They call it the Egg Bowl. It's not really a bowl game; it's a rivalry game. But they've been playing this forever, and they always play on Thanksgiving Day, which is pretty cool. Because most colleges try to steer clear of it, especially with the NFL being on as well all day. But Ole Miss and Mississippi State do not break tradition, so. Chance for Jackson Dart and all those guys to go down the road, Starkville, and try to close out the season with a win, and send the seniors off happy, and keep the old Egg Bowl in Ole Miss. So we will start here. How do you guys see the games playing out? Do you think this is a close game? Does Ole Miss lay a stinker of an egg, pun intended, or do they go down to Starkville and take care of business? Cottrell, how you feeling on this one?
So I actually think that Ole Miss is going to perform well in this game. Obviously, I think Ole Miss is the better team. I know they really have nothing left to play for at this point, but I do think they are going to still fight to ultimately try and get that New Year's Six bowl game. And I think they will be potentially in contention for that, especially depending on what happens with the rest of the SEC with Georgia and Alabama moving forward. Now, as far as this game goes, though, for Mississippi State, you might be looking at it like, hey, they really have nothing to play for either. They have an interim head coach, but one more win gets them bowl eligible. And I think that's definitely going to be something on these players' mind, especially those seniors who, obviously 4 years ago, they were in a different boat. Mike Leach is there, and they probably thought that coming in, maybe within that 4 or 5 year window, they had an opportunity to go out there and maybe compete for an SEC championship or even a national championship. And obviously those things have not come to fruition for them. So I do think, those guys are going to go out there. They're going to fight hard. Ultimately, I got Ole Miss winning this football game. I just think they're the better team. I think Ole Miss is going to be able to be successful in the running game, and that's ultimately what's going to have Ole Miss prevail. But I think Mississippi State is going to keep this game close. And, if you want to tune in to some non-NFL action, I think this is a game that's going to be close until the very end.
West Coast.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So Ole Miss, 10.5-point favorites in this game. I'm going to break it down for you real nice and simple. I'm going to paint a beautiful picture like Bob Ross over here. And Mississippi State, before last week's 41-20 win, their previous 4 weeks, they'd only scored 29 points. Their offense was not looking good. They were not rolling on all cylinders. Obviously, they were rejuvenated after the firing with an interim head coach. The team usually can rally around that guy and kind of really show out. However, we're past week 1. This is week 2. They're facing a far superior opponent in Ole Miss. Shows you that with a 9-2 record, their offensive stats, their defensive stats, or just overall, Ole Miss is a better team than Mississippi State. Ole Miss, on the other hand, besides their 2 losses this season, where they only averaged 19 points a game, the other games are averaging over 40 points per game. So if Mississippi State has any chance of staying in this game, they're going to need to keep that score low. And here's the wild card that I have for today, is that they got to get Quinshon Judkins going. He has not averaged over 4 yards per game in the last 2 weeks, so he has not been on his A game. They got to get him going often and early. And Jackson Dart on the road has not played his best football. He has 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on the road this season, and both of their losses, guess where they came? On the road. So that's something we got to look for, how Jackson Dart will kind of perform on the road in a hostile environment. And Will Rogers only played 7 games this year, 6 of them luckily at home. He's got 11 touchdowns, a 3 interception ratio. He loves playing in front of his Mississippi State fans. And the real wild card of the day is it is senior day. Mississippi State's their last Egg Bowl, their last home game in front of their fans. If they want to play one more game, they have to win this game or they're done. Their college careers are done. Some of them will never put on pads again. So I really want to see how hard they want to play today. If they want to get that 13th game of the season in, they're going to have to pull out an upset here. With that being said, and keeping the egg pun, I think today's game for Mississippi State is going to be a deviled egg, and I think Ole Miss covers that 10.5 pretty easily.
All right, so I mean, both you guys, per the norm, kind of hit on all the things I wanted to talk about. Alex just mentioned the one thing for me. You got Will Rogers at Mississippi State, who is, I think, I don't want to call him a disappointment, but I just don't think he's quite lived up to the hype of what we thought he was going to be there. But the biggest thing you hit on for me, and Cottrell did a little bit as well, I think Ole Miss, as good as Mississippi State's defense is, and it actually is pretty good. It's a little bit better than probably the numbers suggest. I think Ole Miss is still going to put points up in this game. And for me, for Mississippi State to have any kind of chance of pulling the upset, that offense is going to have to find a gear that it hasn't found all year. I don't think that's going to happen in this game. I know it's a rivalry game. I know anything can happen when you're playing, your interstate rival, and, funnier things have happened. That being said, I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I think Jackson Dart and company are just going to be too much down the stretch. Maybe they don't cover. Maybe it's only a 1-possession game, something like that. But I do think, again, if you look at the numbers, if you watched either one of these teams play this year, the eye test, Ole Miss is just a better football team. And like I said, weird things happen in rivalry games. Mississippi State could take that elevated day, and come out and shock the world. I just don't think it's very likely. They do have a lot to play for. Like Alex said, you're talking about senior day. If they do win, they are bowl eligible. It's a lot riding on this game for Mississippi State. So, and I think that's why this game maybe stays a little bit closer than the spread would suggest. But that being said, I'm going to go with Jackson Dart and the Ole Miss Rebels to finish the season with a win, and then they're just going to have to wait and see where they fall in the pecking order of the bowl games.
I think it's also interesting too that you bring up Will Rogers, and coming in, of course, I'm sure his expectations were delivering a SEC championship, bowl wins, maybe even a national championship, things like that. But it's crazy to think that after 5 years now, he is what the standard is now for the quarterback position at Mississippi State. I mean, he holds pretty much every statistical record set there. And you got to think about other guys that have played there. Dak Prescott was there, and, they've had some other really good quarterbacks, and Will Rogers is the guy who has his name etched in the history books. So I do think that Mississippi State team will play hard. And to be honest, as close as I think they keep it, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Mississippi State found a way to win this football game.
Get out of here. Get
I'm
out
so
of here with that.
I'm so serious. I think
I know
Ole
it's
Miss is a
Thanksgiving,
team,
but get out of here.
I think Ole Miss is a team that could potentially lose focus. I think this is a game where they could fully feel like, we are the superior team, which they are. Don't get it twisted. But I could easily see those guys not being prepared for this game.
But here's the thing, though, I have for you. What do they have to look past them to? They have no, conference championship game. They got no other game scheduled. They're just going to be waiting for a bowl game. So if they had another game after them, a possible conference championship game, I would say you are 100% right. But with nothing else to look forward to, I don't think they can overlook them.
But to the flip side of that, though, the other question would be, what motivation does Ole Miss have to go out there and put forth this crazy effort? Like, for a lot of those guys, this is it. Even those bowl games, they're not gonna. Some of those guys might not go play in those bowl games just because of it means nothing to them, depending on which bowl game they end up making it to. So I think it could also be a situation where Ole Miss is looking at like, for all intents and purposes, our season is over here anyway.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think Ole Miss is gonna run all over this game. It's gonna be one-sided the whole way. So I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, see, I think it's a close game. If I had to bet this game, I would say I'd probably have to take Mississippi State plus 10.5, especially them being home too. Like I said, I think it's a little bit of a tighter game than that Vegas has it. But enough with the appetizers, enough with the finger foods and the celery and the all the cheese and
the raw
crackers
carrots
and everything.
that we
raw
talked about yesterday on Wire to Wire.
Yeah, raw carrots, no dip. I need a turkey and I need the mashed potatoes, and here we are. Number 16th ranked Oregon State Beavers traveling to Austin Stadium to take on the number 6 Oregon Ducks.
Traveling a full 45 minutes.
45 minutes. So
trip up I-5.
This game may or may not help Alex's case to get somebody back in the contenders section of the CFP come Saturday morning. We will see. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in. See how much see kind of how much BS Alex talks between now and then. But no,
there's gonna be a lot.
All intents and purposes, though, this is a very big game. I think it would be even a bigger game if Oregon State could have found a way to pull out the victory against the Huskies last week. But they come in here 8-3, still a very good football team, very dangerous football team. DJU a quarterback, Damian Martinez a stud of a running back. Going into Austin, which is top 10 in my opinion, probably toughest place to play in the country. Bo Nix, the pretty much the consensus front runner for the Heisman now. Bucky Irving, the running back, another stud. And Oregon defense that's kind of getting tougher by the week here, kind of rounding into shape as we go. Like I said, big game. Oregon needs this game. This is a playoff game for Oregon. Slice it however you want. I'm not trying to put more pressure on your Ducks, Alex, but that's what this is. This is a do or die game for you guys. For all intents and purposes. You lose it, your season's over. If you win, you get your shot at Washington again, and get a shot to get into the college football playoff, maybe. So I will let West Coast go first on this one because it is his Ducks. I'm sure you're going to say they're going to win by 62 or something crazy, but before we get to the score predictions, at least give us your breakdown of the football game.
Yeah, I mean, I really dove deep into the numbers. Being both these teams are from the state that I reside, I owe it to both teams to give them my true and honest opinion. With that being said, Ducks by 50. Just kidding. But honestly, I did dive deep into the numbers.
Kinda.
Yeah, exactly, kind of. Oregon State, they've played 4 ranked opponents this year. In those games, they average 25 points per game. That's respectable. But their defense is giving up 35 points per game in those games against ranked opponents. That's a 10-point differential. That's not even a one possession differential between those points allowed versus points scored. Where the Ducks, on the other hand, are averaging They are scoring 47 points per game and allowing 15 points per game in against ranked teams. So when I look at this, Oregon can handle the pressure. Oregon State has not been able to handle those pressure situations, and DJU is not a big game guy. We look back to last year's stats, in this year's stats included. Anytime he plays a ranked opponent, he has just as many touchdowns versus interceptions per ratio in those games. He's not a big game quarterback. And basically what Oregon State is going to try to do is they're going to try to rely on Damian Martinez up the middle and around the outside runs and try to kind of wear down the Oregon offense. Last year, Oregon State was able to make a 21-point comeback against this Oregon defense strictly by running. They had 60 yards passing last year and 268 rushing yards last year. They ran all over Oregon's defense. This year, that's not going to be the case. Oregon has a top 10 ranked rushing defense this season. So one of their weaknesses from last year, they've already improved and strengthened this season, and they're going to be able to stop the Oregon State early. Damian Martinez is not going to be able to get those hard-earned yards early. They're going to return to DJU when they go down 2 scores after the first quarter, and DJU shows that when under pressure, unless he's doing quick, short dump-offs, which Oregon has shown success against, anything past 15 yards, he has an interception risk waiting to happen. Like I said, Oregon State came back last year down 21. It was a huge win for Oregon State. Really took Oregon out of the Pac-12 championship game. And I think Dan Lanning learned his lesson last year not to play with his food. And he's going to put him away early. He's going to put him away hard. And I'm thinking Oregon by 35.
It's like I'm listening to everything he's saying. I'm like, all right, I can agree with some of this. Like, it's good. Like, Alex is on point. And then he gets to the end, as always.
No, man.
Oregon by 92.
Oregon is number 2 in passing yards per game. Okay. Oregon State's defense, their secondary, was supposed to be their strength of the team this year, but it has not been that way. Okay. Besides Michael Penix Jr. last week in a torrential downpour of a game, quarterbacks, including Shedeur Sanders, has been able to go all over all these Oregon State Beaver secondary for throwing for touchdowns and yards. There's only been 2 games this year. Oregon State has not allowed a 100-yard receiver to the opposing team. And Troy Franklin, who has only had 2 games this season under 100 yards. So that does not spell like a recipe for success for Oregon State. Bo Nix, I don't even need to talk about him because everyone knows how good he is.
So the one thing that I think is kind of interesting here, you mentioned like the stats about playing ranked opponents. I'm assuming Colorado falls in that ranked category towards Oregon stats.
Well, of course. They were ranked at the time.
Okay.
But so does Utah. And look at that. Same exact score.
And I'm guessing was USC ranked at that time?
They were not. No.
Okay.
Oregon's only playing 3 ranked opponents, this week being 4. Oregon State has played 4 ranked opponents this season.
Who was the other one that Oregon faced?
Utah, Colorado, and Washington.
Oh, okay, Washington. And yeah, okay. So most of that is from Washington. Those stats that came out because the Colorado game was a blowout and the Utah game was a blowout. Okay,
correct.
Makes sense. So normally I'd come on here and kind of try to bring you back down to earth, let you know how talented Oregon was, and they're going to win the game and probably win it convincingly, but, I'll tell you the number is astronomical. This week, I'm not going to do that. I was on Wire to Wire yesterday, and I said that I really feel like this is a bad matchup for that Oregon State team. And a lot of it is because of the reasons that you put forth. I think this is going to be a blowout, and I think adding the little cherry on top is that Oregon State took care of business last year. Those guys in that Oregon locker room aren't forgetting that anytime soon, and they fully know what's ahead of them. Like, I think it could potentially be different if Oregon was going into this game undefeated and they knew on the other side of this game was a Washington team, but that's not the case. Every week, Oregon has to go out there and basically fight for their life, because even if they win this game and even potentially win the next game against Washington, there's no guarantees that they're going to be in the playoffs. So I fully expect them to go out there, handle business this week. The score I gave 49-20. I truly think Oregon wins this game by 4 possessions. I don't think it's particularly close. I think they're going to shut down Damian Martinez, and then once you do that and you go up by 2 scores, that's going to force DJ Uiagalelei to put the ball in the air. And, if he's doing that 40, 50 times a game, that spells turnovers, and that spells a huge Oregon win. So Alex, I'm not calling you crazy this week. I truly think Oregon wins by three or four possessions.
Man, we got to get you on the show after you've eaten a lot of food more often because you're starting to make sense for once. I like this. Bill, you're rolling your eyes. What do you got thinking?
Cottrell clearly drank too much of something during dinner. I don't know what it is.
Listen to Wire to Wire. I said it yesterday too.
Yeah. No, so listen. The one big thing about rivalry games is a lot of the times you really just can't predict what's going to happen. Said it last year. Oregon was definitely a better football team last year. They were by 21. What happened? They lost the game. Is Oregon definitely the better football team this year? Absolutely. I've been on record saying numerous times I think one of the best 4 teams in the country. And I was even more adamant about it after their loss to Washington. That being said, I think a lot of guys from Oregon State, we talked about Oregon wanting revenge, so forth and so on. A lot of guys on the Oregon State team that are going to remember last year and not get rattled and remember what this game is. I still think Oregon wins the football game. I think it's a little bit closer than people think. I think this has the shot to be a very almost one of the classic kind of something that goes down in a history type game between these two teams. I'll say Oregon wins by 10, but I think it's a damn good football team. I'm going to disagree with Alex a little bit. I think Damian Martinez and that team are going to be able to run the football against Oregon. I think it's going to be their goal to try to keep the ball out of Bo Nix's hands. And until Oregon, completely commits to stopping the run, I think Oregon State hangs around in this game. I really do. I think you look at DJU's numbers the last 4 weeks compared to the 4 weeks before that, he's been a lot better. He's starting to kind of look like beginning of Clemson DJU. Made a couple really good throws in that Washington game, had a couple big drops that if they caught the ball, they might even have won that game. And Alex would have been even happier, today. But, I'm going to stick with what I said on Wire to Wire. I think Oregon wins. I firmly believe that. I think they're a very, very good football team. I think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country. I think this is a close game, though. I'm not going to say Oregon necessarily is ever in any danger of losing. I don't think it gets out of hand like you two think, though. I really don't. I just think Oregon State has enough offense and decent enough defense to stay in this. Definitely not win it, but I think they stay in it. So I'll go something like 33-23, 35-24, something like that. That's where I think we are at the end of the day. I think Oregon wins, and they go to the Pac-12 championship, and then they start getting ready to lick their chops and get another shot at Washington and possibly make their way into the college football playoff.
I'm going to go on the limb and say Oregon State doesn't score 14 points today. You can laugh all you want. They scored 20 points last week in a torrential downpour with Damian Martinez absolutely owned last week. I can honestly go on this for this about this for hours, and I want to get all our fans back to their amazing dinners and their amazing families. So I won't get into it too much. But when I'm bragging about it on Saturday, expect a full breakdown.
That works.
Cool.
Listen, man, for your sake, I hope you're right.
I'd be on the same boat, Alex. We'll have a victory parade. I'll be like Gronk. You could be Tom Brady. It'd be great.
Yeah, but you got to win first.
No. I was talking about basking in your.
In my glory of the Oregon Ducks.
We're both on the same side here. Now next week, because we will win. Don't worry about us. I'm not.
Cottrell already looking for allies. He's looking for allies on Wednesday's show. Now he's trying to buddy up with that's fine, man. Listen,
I'm a Switzerland.
I'm not looking for any allies here, Alex. You're going to be on the right side of history here because come next week, the Block O will be moved back over to that left side with Ohio State. Us Block O's are going to be united. There will be a letter moving over to that right side, and I'm telling you, it won't be O.
Alex don't have a Block O. See, stop trying to be friends. You a Block O. Alex has a nice O.
A nice O. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you guys couldn't pick out your own damn thing. You guys picked out the next letter of the alphabet after ours. It's ridiculous.
There's an N in there too.
Next one after. Yeah, you forgot N. There's an N sandwiched in there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm thankful to have you guys this year. I know, I know with it being Thanksgiving, we should definitely say what we're thankful for, and I'm definitely thankful that you boys, reached out, or I was able to reach out to you guys, and here we are, 13 weeks later, still rocking and rolling, getting better every week.
Cottrell.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a show that obviously, me and Bill kind of took a run at it before in the past. Didn't work out for, whatever reason. But we've wanted to do college football preview shows, and just being able to do it this year, definitely thankful for that. Alex, it's definitely been great, having you. Obviously, we go at each other pretty much every show, but it's all
Weekly.
fun, and it's definitely, it makes those Saturday mornings go by a lot faster. I will say that. Usually I'm up, I'm watching game day. Tom Rinaldi's no longer there, so I don't get the special. It's just different. So us having this and just being fully engaged, like I already loved college football, but I feel like I'm locked in even more now, just because we're talking about this stuff every week. So appreciate obviously doing the show with you guys, and I appreciate everybody. Not even that just follow us from wire to wire, but that also have that interest in college football, tapping in with us every Saturday morning.
No, I agree. So, I mean, Cottrell mentioned one thing I wanted to bring up, in my closing thought here. This was something, even when we started wire to wire, me and Cottrell kind of very early on, both found a lot of common ground and, our love for college football and how it kind of, it's kind of number one for both of us. And we talked about doing it for a while, and then we thought we had something going, and we were kind of getting off the ground with it. And, like he said, it didn't work out for other reasons, but, everything happens for a reason, and that brought us to this. I'm thankful for this. I agree with Cottrell. I've had more fun doing this show in the mornings with you guys on Saturdays, than I can even express. I was kind of like Cottrell, like that was my morning. I'd wake up, eat breakfast, and then 9 o'clock, watch College Game Day for 3 hours, and then, start watching college football. College Game Day is falling off. That's neither here nor there. But, I do agree with Cottrell as well. Like, I feel like I've been more dialed in this year than I ever have been, because I know we're going to talk about this stuff Saturday. I have to know my stuff, and you guys both being super knowledgeable, even in different aspects and the way you guys do it, also makes me, learn more and be on my game more and even look at things differently. And I love that about both of you guys. I love what we started here. Like I said, it's only season 1. We got a million more shows to go. But I'm thankful for you guys. Obviously, my family, my friends, my loved ones, my health, what's left of it, all that good stuff. But I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Thanksgiving, enjoy spending the time with your loved ones. And we will be back Saturday morning with the big one. We'll be able to recap, hopefully, a win for Alex's Ducks. Because if not, it could be a very somber Saturday for Alex. And then, me and Cottrell, we suspend our friendship for about 3.5 hours on Saturday. So, but that's about it for this.
Instigate.
Yeah, you do. But no, in all seriousness, we'll be back Saturday morning with the full, obviously we'll recap what happens with these 2 games, and then plus what happened last week. Our normal show, College Football Eliminator. Alex might get his wish. The green or yellow O, whatever you want to call it, might go back to the good guy side. We'll see. And we'll be back with you guys in your living rooms on Saturday. So, and again, everybody who watches the show and helps and promotes it and shares it and comments everything, we appreciate all of it. I can't say that enough. So, enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving, and we'll be back with you guys on Saturday morning.
Less than 48 hours, y'all. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Absolutely. We will be back, but hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving, and see you on Saturday.
See you, boys.
See you.